We know that Yosef HaTzadik says, as he sees all the brothers, he sees Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, he puts them in the order of their ages. And then he sees Binyamin. And when he sees Binyamin, he bursts out crying. He begins to cry. And the question is, why now? What happened now that he began to cry more than any other time? Right, he meets Binyamin, but it's not the first time he's seeing Binyamin for the first time. But what are they crying about? So we know that a person cries for two reasons. Two reasons a person cries. It says, Le'osad Labai, at the time to come, Bila Moves Lo Netzach Umocha Hashem Dimo Me'al Kol Panim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to erase death forever. Umocha Hashem Dimo Me'al Kol Panim. And any tear, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to wipe away all tears. Which means to say a person will not have a reason to cry at the time to come. Which means to say when Mashiach comes, it's total bliss, it's total happiness, it's total enjoyment. And hopefully, Be'ezrat Hashem, that beautiful shul, the Sephardi shul that was just built, will also move to Eretz Yisrael, together with everybody else. So, Yishar Koach. But, that's going to be a time of just extreme joy. It says God is going to erase every last drop of tear. There will be no reason to cry anymore. Nobody's going to be sad. But the question is asked, what about tears of joy? It seems that all tears are going to be erased, which means tears of sadness and tears of joy. So why tears of joy? What's wrong with tears of joy? So the Shiva tells, Rabbi Pagarmansky explained once that the concept of tears of joy. He says, when a person cries, even because he's at joy, he's happy, but there's also an element of sadness in every simcha. Because every simcha in a person's soul, in a person's subconscious mind, in the recesses of his heart or her heart, a person understands that simcha is not complete because it's a fleeting simcha. It's a simcha that has a beginning and an end. And since we're at that highest point of simcha, we're already thinking sometimes of the end, and therefore it hurts us. In this world, even when you have a certain level of simcha, even if you have a certain level of joy, even if you're enjoying even a food, but you're enjoying this food, but there could be other food that you couldn't be enjoying. You're having a fun time here, but there could be a better fun time at the same time that you could be having. And therefore, no joy is complete in this world. Every joy has a level of chisarn, a little level where you know that the simcha is not complete. And therefore, hence, the tears of joy. But there's also another understanding. There's another understanding to why a person cries when he's so happy. Rabbi Yisroel Friend gives an explanation. And he says, at times, when a person, for example, is in tremendous joy, his child is having a bar mitzvah. At a person's time, when he's in tremendous joy, his child is getting married. Tremendous simcha. But at that time, your mind begins to think. And your mind thinks to itself, wow, what did it take to get to this point in my life? How much aggravation, how much toil, how much pain, what I had to go through to get to this point, and a person bursts into tears. He thinks to himself the times that I had to be at the principal's office, or the times that I had to drive my kid back and forth 100 times to yeshiva, or the times that I had to convince him not to have this friend so he wouldn't associate with the wrong people and get into trouble. And all this is going through his mind as he's dancing or as he's walking his child down the aisle, and he's overwhelmed with emotions, and at that point he breaks down crying. See, there's tremendous difference between fun and happiness. fun and happiness. In fact, fun is the total opposite of happiness. What I mean to say is, a person cannot have fun and hope to reach happiness. If you look at the celebrities today, and you think to yourself, hey, these people, they have the best type of life possible. Glamorous cars, fancy parties, huge homes, great friends. They've got everything that this world could offer. Why, if you dig beneath the surface, you see all of a sudden their lives are full of troubled marriages, alcohol, broken homes, children that are in tremendous trouble. Why? You live the epitome of life. How could you be sad? How could you have anything go wrong? And the answer is, because what they're doing is pursuing fun in the attempt to reach happiness. But happiness is the antithesis of fun. Because what is happiness? Happiness is when a person works tirelessly to get to a goal, whether it's bringing up a child, whether it's marrying off a child, whether it's building a shul, whatever it is, but he works tirelessly, not caring about himself one little bit, putting all that aside, and his eye is on the focus, is on the ball, is on the goal. When he reaches that goal, that is happiness. Happiness, in a sense, is accomplishment. Fun never equals accomplishment. You could have all the fun in the world, but you will never ever have that satisfaction. Of course, fun has a place in the world. Fun is necessary. A vacation is necessary. But don't think for a moment that the vacation will equal happiness. Don't think for the moment the basketball game will equal happiness. Because as soon as the game is over, the person is back to himself, sometimes back to his empty self. But if we accomplished and built and did, he never looks back at an empty space in life. He looks back at tremendous accomplishment. And therefore, that's the idea of tears of joy. Tears of joy after working so hard. You reach that level of tears of joy. So here you have Yosef HaTzadik and Binyamin. Yosef HaTzadik and Binyamin. Yosef now reached a certain complete wholeness and wholesomeness with the brothers. They were fractured up till now. There was a problem. There was strife. They couldn't look at him and speak to him peacefully. They had to get rid of him. And after 22 years of tremendous pain on all sides, Yosef HaTzadik going through tremendous pain, Yaakov going through tremendous pain, and thereby all the Shvatim that sold him possessing tremendous pain. All of a sudden, the picture comes together and they're whole. But now, reality sets in. And although Yosef and the entire brothers are now one cohesive group, and they totally forgive each other, and Yosef says to them, Atem chashavtem l'ra'ah, v'Elokim chashavo l'toivo. You thought to do bad to me, but God had different plans, so don't worry about it. We're one, we're together. Don't think I'm going to take nekama. Don't think I'm going to take revenge. I love you guys, and we're one. But at that very moment, he also breaks down crying because he realizes that this is not going to be forever. This strife and this fact that we overcame it now, it doesn't mean that it's done now. Because at this moment, they both see prophetically what's going to happen with the first Beis HaMikdash, what's going to happen with the second Beis HaMikdash, what's going to happen with the Mishkan that it's in the section of Yosef. So why are they crying now? Because they reached that wholesome state of accomplishment, but realizing that Klal Yisrael is not out of the woods. Yes, we made up now. We were able to put the pieces together now. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be so easy for Klal Yisrael. And we're going to have to go through tremendous hardships where we're going to get kicked out of Eretz Yisrael. Hence, they break down crying. They look, both Yosef HaTzadik and Binyamin, look down the line and they see what's going to happen with Klal Yisrael. What do they see? They see the extreme pain that Klal Yisrael is going to go through. When Klal Yisrael leaves Eretz Yisrael, when they're kicked out of Eretz Yisrael, it's referred to, Yosef HaTzadik, it's referred to going down into Gehenna. Where do we see that? We see that in two places. We see Yosef HaTzadik saying to his father, "Redo'anai al ta'amoid, go down to me." Where was Yaakov? Yaakov was in Eretz Yisrael. He tells him, go down. You know where the other place where it says go down? By Nebuchadnezzar. When Nebuchadnezzar descends to Gehenna, it also uses the terminology go down, which means to say, anytime you leave Eretz Yisrael, technically, a person is going down to Gehenna. Meaning to say, this is not where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be in Eretz Yisrael. It may sound good here. It may be nice in Milbasin or in Brooklyn or wherever we may be. But anywhere outside of Eretz Yisrael, just like we see by Nebuchadnezzar, that's the only other time that he uses the word raid, go down, right? Redo alai al ta'amoid. Go down means you're going down now to trouble, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, lech raid. Go down right by the Egel. Why? Because Moshe, you're going down to trouble. You're going down to immense trouble. Yosef HaTzadik, when he calls his father and he says, Redo alai al ta'amoid, he's realizing that he's now, the Klal Yisrael are going to go through tremendous troubles. That the wounds are not completely healed. It's not finished. Our job, although after 22 years we're together, his brothers were together, it's the 12 Shvatim, but it's not going to be finished. And therefore he uses that terminology that, yes, it's going to be like Gehenna. It's going to be very, very difficult. And anytime we leave Eretz Yisrael, it's going to be very, very difficult. But Yosef HaTzadik at the same time realizes that also what happens when people fight is many times they make up and they're much, much stronger. Sometimes that fighting causes us to be a lot stronger. That's the power of tshuva. The power of tshuva is that a person returns to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and a person becomes one. So although he sinned, sometimes it could become even like schusim to him. Those sins could turn around and become attributes now. If they could become merits to the individual. So here too Yosef realizes that yes, we're going to go through a long galus. It's going to be very difficult. We're going to be chased all the time. A lot of it is going to be through because of internal strife that we had, that we couldn't get along. But then there's going to come a time where all this is going to change. As by Yaakov Avinu it says, right after the Malach hit him, what happened? The sun rose, right? The sun rose. What does that mean? The sun rose means that there's going to be a time where everybody's going to be b'shalom. The sun is going to rise. Mashiach is going to come. Klal Yisrael is no longer going to be each one in his own separate direction. We're going to have one unity. And this is what Yosef and Binyamin were crying about. They were crying because it's going to be a very long journey. They thought that they were done already, that that's it. The brothers all made up. But they realized at that moment that there's a long road ahead. But then you're going to have all of Klal Yisrael, millions of people, uniting and becoming one. So the end, with Hashem's help, will be a very happy ending. Amen.